Let me now move to item 2, action by ministers, which we begin on Monday with the accession of Comoros and Timor-Leste. Before I propose action under this item, allow me to offer my sincere thanks to the Director General, the ministers who have assisted me so ably as Vice Chairpersons, the Minister Facilitators and Facilitators, the Chairperson of the General Council and the WTO Secretariat. I also wish to sincerely thank all the ministers and delegation for their tireless and hard commitments work over the past week. Turning to the business at hand, the Ministerial Conference has before it the text from various work streams for ministerial action. First, and as reported by the Chairperson of the General Council at our opening session, there are 2 draft decisions and 1 draft declaration submitted by the General Council before you. These are a draft decision on the work program on small economies and document WT/MIN24/W/2. A draft decision on WTO smooth transition support measures in favor of countries graduated from LDC category in documents WT/MIN24/W/14 Rev 1. And a draft ministerial declaration on strengthening regulatory cooperation to reduce technical barriers to trade, and document WT/MIN24/W/3/Rev 1. Furthermore, the following draft decisions and declarations are the result of intensive discussions and negotiations by ministers during this conference. A draft Abu Dhabi Ministerial Declaration in documents WT/MIN24/W/12 Rev.1. A draft ministerial decision on dispute settlement reform in document WT/MIN24/W/11. A draft declaration on precise, effective, and operational implementation of special and differential treatment provisions of the agreements on the application of sanitary and SMPM and the agreements on technical barriers to trade and documents WT/MIN24/W/24. We then have a draft decision on the work program and electronic commerce in documents WT/MIN24/W/26/Rev.1. And finally, we also have a draft decision of TRIPS, non-violation and situation complaints, WT/MIN24/W/16. May I now propose that Ministerial Conference adopt the text that I have just mentioned. Congratulations. 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 Colleagues, friends, thank you so much. I commend your commitment and determination in striving to arrive at compromise solution, to arrive at the outcomes which we have just adopted. And as I said at the start, this has been not an easy task. It is therefore all the more commendable that we have succeeded with some of the work streams. Work in other areas will continue in Geneva, and I encourage the WTO membership to continue to eager in a constructive and result-oriented manner. Let me now turn to agenda item 3 and 4, which relate to the date and venue of the election of the officers for the 14th session. I propose that we take them up together. The rules of procedures for sessions of the Ministerial Conference require that the date of each regular session should be established by the Ministerial Conference at the previous session, and they also provide for the election of the chairperson of the Ministerial Conference and the 3 vice chairpersons to hold office from the end of this session until the end of next regular session. With respect to the venue, let me recall that in December 2022, the General Council agreed that the 14th session of the Ministerial Conference will be hosted by Cameroon. With respect to the date, I therefore propose that, in accordance with our established practice, the Ministerial Conference requests the General Council to hold consultations with a view to deciding on the date. With respect to the officers, in accordance with our established practice, I also propose that the Ministerial Conference request the General Council to hold consultation. Can I take it that this is agreeable? So agreed. No, you have. We have now arrived at the closure of the 13th Ministerial Conference. Before making my own closing remarks, I would like to offer the floor to the Director General. Dr. Ngozi, you have the mic.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we convened MC13 against an international backdrop marked by greater uncertainty than at any time I can remember. During the long hours of negotiation here, we saw moments of difficult but rewarding cooperation. As ministers overcame intense disagreement, engaged in tough discussions and found common ground. The beauty of the WTO is that each member has an equal voice, but that also comes at a cost. Nevertheless, we're a unique organization, and I think the cost is worth it. Let's keep going so we can make our voices heard. I want to express my deepest gratitude to our patient and solutions-oriented MC13 Chair, His Excellency Dr. Thani bin Ahmed Al-Zayudi, Minister of State of Foreign Trade of the UAE, and to the government and people of the UAE for the incredible hospitality extended to all of us this week. I also want to thank our vice chairs, and I'm going to name them all. Honorable Todd Macleay, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Hunting and Fishing and Trade of New Zealand. His Excellency Jorge Rivera, Staff, Minister of Trade and Industry of Panama, and Minister Facilitators, His Excellency Espen Barth Eid, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway, His Excellency Kerry Simmons, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Barbados, Her Excellency Rebecca Maino, Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry of Kenya, and His Excellency Martin Ejofsson, Permanent Secretary of State, Iceland. Through day and night, and there was a lot of the latter, ministers and our chair could count on the support of convergence building facilitators. His Excellency Mr. Munsi Kafela, Minister of Trade and Industry of Botswana, Ms. Mary Ng, Her Excellency Mary Ng, Minister of Small Business and Export Promotion of Canada, His Excellency Mr. Manuel Tova Rivera, Minister of Trade of Costa Rica, His Excellency Mr. Manesh Gobin, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade of Costa Rica, His Excellency Mr. Leota Laki Lamositele, Minister of Trade Negotiations of Samoa, His Excellency Mr. Kim Yong-Gam, Minister of Trade and Industry of Singapore, His Excellency Mr. Tim Ayres, Assistant Minister for Trade and Tourism of Australia, and His Excellency Ambassador Dacio Castillo, Permanent Representative to the WTO of Honduras. I want to thank all our chairs of the various negotiating bodies who have worked so hard and tirelessly, not just here, but also in Geneva. I also want to thank my sister, Her Excellency Ambassador Atalia Molokome of Botswana, for her work as General Counsel person, and especially the pivotal role she played in Geneva to lay the groundwork for productive engagement by ministers this week. I would like to ask a favor, to ask all the negotiating chairs who came from Geneva if they could kindly stand up, please. Thank you. Thank you. I want to also thank the hardworking staff of ADNEC. And now you must indulge me because I'm so proud of the staff of the WTO led by DDG Ellard, who have managed this conference both here and in Geneva. I now want to make a personal thank you. There's someone in this room who has been with me through day and night all week, and that's my husband, Dr. Ikemba Iwala. Now, Excellencies, we've worked hard this week. We have achieved some important things and we have not managed to complete others. Nevertheless, we moved those pieces of work in an important way. At the same time, we have delivered some milestone achievements for the WTO and laid the groundwork for more. For the first time, ministers engaged in conversations on how trade relates to two pressing issues that go to the heart of the political, economic, and environmental challenges you face at home, namely sustainable development and socioeconomic inclusion. Organizing an interactive dialogue in a ministerial conference was an innovation, but it paid off. Ministers had a high demand to freely exchange perspectives, listen to each other, and get a better understanding of each other's views and experiences. You recognize the role trade and the WTO can play in empowering women, expanding opportunities for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and achieving sustainable development in its three dimensions: economic, social, and environmental. You grappled with the diversity of the membership and the problems each of you face, and opened a potential door for deeper discussions on issues such as trade and industrial policy, policy space for industrial development, sustainable agriculture, and trade and inclusion. For the first time since the mandate 23 years ago, to review special and differential treatment provisions for developing and least developed countries with a view to making them more precise, effective, and operational, you agreed to a ministerial decision that would advance that goal. This is a win for development, one that will enable developing countries, especially LDCs, fulfill their WTO commitments, exercise their rights, and better integrate into global trade. Momentum behind the fisheries subsidies agreement continued to pick up pace even today. We now have 71 formal acceptances, including 11 this week. South Africa gave us a lovely closing present. This puts entry into force firmly within reach by mid-year with a record of 2 years. And yes, it matters because we must safeguard the sustainability of our oceans. Members also agreed on concrete measures to smooth the path to graduation for least developed countries. And of course, we welcome 2 accessions, a vote of confidence in the rules-based trading system. Comoros and Timor-Leste will bring our membership to 166, closer to universality. And we can look forward to 22 more accession requests. This should remind you of the value attached to being a member of this organization. We also celebrated the entry into force of new disciplines on services domestic regulation. This has long been in the making and will serve to make the regulatory environment for services more streamlined for business. For the first time, we have an agreement at the WTO that provides for gender equality between men and women in access to services jobs. Again, I'd like to thank and congratulate the EU, India, and South Africa, and all the members that worked to make this a possibility. 123 members launched the Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement, which promises to sweep away barriers in front of domestic and foreign investment. As developing countries look for policy space, they will attract investments that can make that policy space happen. I understand that discussions on the legal aspect of inserting this into the WTO framework will continue in Geneva. This is a win for developing countries. We had several successful side events, including the WTO ITC high-level event on women and trade, where we launched a $50 million fund to economically empower women entrepreneurs by leveraging the potential of digitalization to help them access global value chains. Thank you, Your Excellency Dr. Al-Zayudi and UAE for launching our Digital Women's Fund with a generous donation of $5 million. Together with the World Bank, we also hosted the Digital Trade for Africa event as part of our work to help African countries bridge the digital divide so as to benefit from digital trade. The World Bank is prepared to put serious money, billions of dollars behind this. We are working with them to support hard and soft digital infrastructure and regulatory frameworks for 9 pilot countries. We also had a very successful side event on cotton for the Cotton 4+ with FIFA and other partners to enable these countries to tap into the cotton value chain in Africa and tap into the $270 billion sports apparels market. On dispute settlement reform, we made progress with contributions from most members. Here I want to pay special tribute again to the work of Marco Molina, former Guatemalan DPR. But I also want to pay tribute to all of you who also produce work. So we have several works that are contributing to this. And we hope to continue to roll up our sleeves to advance this reform. On agriculture, this has been in the works for the past 2 decades plus. At MC12, we couldn't even agree on a text. Even though there are challenges, for the first time we have a text. We couldn't finish the work on it here, so let's go back to Geneva and deliver. And deliver excellencies is what we must do. On the e-commerce moratorium on work program, we've managed to reach consensus, along with the TRIPS non-violation and situation complaint. In the second wave of fisheries subsidies negotiations, you narrowed some outstanding gaps, but several more remain. While I had hoped that we could finish these negotiations in Abu Dhabi, you have prepared the ground for its conclusion, moving out from here. This is good because the livelihoods of 260 million people who depend directly or indirectly on marine fisheries is at stake. We should capitalize on the progress here to reach a meaningful outcome. The path to progress is seldom linear. The WTO remains a source of stability and resilience in an economic and geopolitical landscape fraught with uncertainties and exogenous shocks. Trade remains a vital force for improving people's lives and for helping businesses and countries cope with the impact of these shocks. It's been a long week, so let me conclude. I once again want to thank the UAE for their kindness and hospitality, which will be unforgettable. I end with a quote accredited to Winston Churchill. He said, and I quote, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Thank you all.
Thank you, Director General. Excellencies, friends, colleagues, this has been a truly remarkable journey. My deep appreciation goes once again to the Vice Chairpersons, the Minister, facilitators for their invaluable assistance and tireless efforts, including through chairing a range of working and convergence building sessions and undertaking a huge number of consultations. You have undertaken tremendous work to facilitate ministers' engagements across all areas, and I commend you all for that. I also wish to place on record my gratitude to WTO Director General and Chairperson of the General Council for their invaluable contribution in the run-up to MC13. As well as during the conference, it has been an honor to collaborate and work with you both. I would like also to wish and thank all delegations who have been participating in this conference. It has been an honor hosting the entire WTO membership in Abu Dhabi. Without everyone's tireless efforts, we would not have arrived at the outcomes we managed to adopt today. While we may not have accomplished everything we set out to achieve, we have delivered some much-needed results, and all other work streams efforts will continue in Geneva. And let us remember that outcomes can be harvested by the General Council as soon as they're ready in the internal to the next ministerial conference. There are also other reasons to celebrate the achievements of the ministerial conference. Notably, we have finalized the accession of Comoros and Timor-Leste, two least developed countries which will soon join the WTO family. This sends a positive signal as it shows that countries continue to have confidence in the WTO and its ability to support their economic development objectives. We all know that international cooperation is not only the best, but often the only way to address the challenges that affect global trade. Delivering the Abu Dhabi package of outcomes is a true testament to the value that members continue to attach to the organization and its vital role in ensuring an orderly global system of trade rules. Delivering these results also enhance trust and confidence in multilateralism, which is particularly valuable given the testing and uncertain times we find ourselves in. With the adopted Abu Dhabi package, we have demonstrated that we can work together, cooperate and deliver, mindful of our shared interest and collective responsibility. We can certainly be proud of arriving at Abu Dhabi package of outcomes. Excellencies, I thank you all for your participation in the 13th session of the Ministerial Conference. It has been a true honor and privilege to host you all here in Abu Dhabi. With this word, I now declare that the 13th session of the Ministerial Conference of WTO closed.
If you permit me, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, I just want to do His Excellency the honor of handing him officially this gavel as a mark of honor for the fantastic work he has done here.
Okay, before we start leaving, if you allow me, there is one final thing which we haven't finished. We'll shift briefly to the informal mode. I have been made aware that some members would like to discuss matters related to agriculture and fisheries. So if there is
Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Papua.